Hello there and welcome. In this video, I have you 10 tips and tricks about builds and upgrades that will make you more successful and win the game more easily in Deep Rock Galactic Survivors. We're going to be talking about a couple of things that I hope will help you as rules of thumb to get your builds powerful, and let me know what you think about it. Now, let's talk number one about tags. So weapons have tags. A weight of the weapon, a type of damage they do, and a couple of other characteristics that can be shared on other weapons as well. So it is pretty simple, but I think it is very important to put that at the beginning of this video. You want to have as many common shared tags between your weapons as possible, because when you have upgrades that upgrade all light weapons, and all 4 of your weapons are light weapons, that's great. And that is something that you can facilitate on all manner of different weapons. Therefore, the more common tags your weapons can get, the better. By the way, you can see with these little asterisk crystals down there how many commonalities these weapons have. So here, for example, the gun platform shares kinetic and projectile with my current weapon. So this way you can tinker yourself a build that has a pretty high likelihood of getting upgrades that give you a lot of bang for your buck, because there is no more efficiency than getting an upgrade that just upgrades all your weapons at once, in my humble opinion at least. Anyways, let's talk number 2. If you want to go for kinetic weapons, I have found for myself that tweaking your build towards critical hits and piercing is what worked the best for me. Kinetic damage lacks often in piercing. Many weapons just don't have inherent piercing in that department. Your mileage may vary, it really depends on which kind of build you put together, but at the end of the day, critical hits spice up the damage profile of this weapon type pretty decently. We can upgrade not only the percentile amount, but also the critical damage, and this was something that worked pretty decently for all of my kinetic builds so far. Which brings me directly to number 3. If your build is more status-centric, that means electricity, and fire and toxic damage, or acid it is called here, the game is mostly shoehorned upgrade-wise into potency upgrades to increase the amount of stacks that your weapons will apply, and stat damage upgrades to increase the amount of impact that one stack does to the enemy. You are not so much interested in critical hits as with other builds, mostly not because it's not good, but because the as far as I've seen it, a critical hit does not make the stack hit harder, so to speak. It just increases the impact of your weapon. And the other thing is, you won't be having enough weapon upgrades to increase potency, status damage, and critical hit. That's just starting to be a little bit to be too less focus. Now, let's talk number 4, fire rate. So fire rates on weapons are, when you can get that, most of the time, especially on clip-based weapons, a really powerful upgrade. Basically, the heavier the shot hits, the more desirable firing speed is for that weapon. Firing speed is, though, a stat with highly diminishing returns. If you put too much of firing speed on a weapon, you will eventually just have an empty magazine and be forced into reload really quickly. That is not inherently something terrible, but it can, at the end of the day, give you a bit less pay off for your upgrade than when you go for a damage upgrade directly, so to speak. At some point, firing speed does not make too much sense anymore. It's up to you, basically. I make it, my verdict is, if I burn fast through my magazine fast enough for my own taste, I stop skilling firing speed on that, or fire rate on that weapon. Which brings me directly to number 5, reload time. Reload speed is really one of the most magnificent stats to have on your builds, because reloading is that one period of time where your weapon stops dealing damage, and that's something we actually want the least. If we could, we would want weapons that would be firing 100% of the time. Since this is not really possible, we want to get as close as possible to that. Therefore, reload time is one of the spiciest secondary stats that we can have, and it follows, though, a relatively similar equation as fire rate. Eventually, you do reload so fast that further percentile increases have such diminishing returns that I find you are better off increasing your other stats. Now, number 6, overclocks as soon as possible. So, as cool and delightful a upgrade for the entire category or tag is, the most power comes out of the overclocks, especially the last on rank 18. Therefore, when you can upgrade the rank of your weapon that you want to max out, it usually pays off to do so, even if the upgrade in question might be not even the most desirable one. It sometimes is just worth doing so just to get to the overclocks as soon as possible. Overclocks do not only change the characteristics of your weapon, they also come with very, very fundamental stat bonuses. Therefore, try to get that maxed out as quick as possible. 2 weapons on level 18 are a pretty sturdy point to get started with and usually carry you easily through Hazard 3 runs. Which brings me to the next point, number 7, yellow and blue lines. So upgrades can have either a yellow or a blue color to them. As you see here, my overclocks all have a yellow color to them. Let's quickly level up to show you the difference here. The other upgrades here are lined in blue. So what's the difference here? The blue upgrades add on to themselves. So if I take 5 times 10% firing speed, I end up with 50% more firing speed. The yellow ones, though, they multiply your multipliers, basically. So this one here will increase your global fire rate by 25%, your global reload speed by 25%, your global damage by 30%, but also your global fire rate reduced by 30%. The math behind it is pretty much just another multiplier on top of the multiplier, and if that's too mathematical for you, it's simpler put down as the yellow upgrades just are fundamentally more powerful because they upgrade the upgrades, so to speak. Therefore, if you get those not only on the overclocks, but also on artifacts, you should really keep an eye out on these, because many artifacts look pretty boring until you factor in that they have that yellow upgrade and not the blue upgrade. Alright, now number 8. Every weapon likes different stats. This is what makes this game a little bit more complicated, but also so much fun. A grenade needs a different setup of upgrades than a automatic gun like the minigun does. A turret-based build benefits, for example, from firing speed permanently and endlessly, because these turrets, they don't have ammo, so the faster they fire, they will just grow permanently in damage, and the list goes on and on. You should always analyze the weapons that you're using and consider what kind of trait gives the best power up for them. And that's the fun part for me about Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, that there's so much differences between the particular weapons and so many different angles that you can pack them up. It even goes as far as, due to overclock upgrades, you can differentiate your builds. Even with the same weapon can even be built differently on different occasions. Number 9. Don't overdo the utility stats. With the utility stats, I mean movement speed and pickup radius, but also piercing, and to some degree also reload time and other things. Everything that doesn't directly kill the enemy is, the higher the difficulty levels go, eventually more or less dead weight. Or, as somebody else put it into the comment section a while ago, that guy tried to just have as much movement speed and as much mining speed to just get things covered, and the rest invested into damage. Efficiency wise, that's actually way to go. The utility things don't kill enemies, and the higher the hazard level goes, the more it is an arms race against the enemy's scaling. So what's worth saying though for me, there's three stats that I find inherently beautiful and powerful to dump your upgrades in if you don't know where you want to go. That's for one, HP, because I found that especially in higher difficulty levels, with the obscene amounts of burst that the enemies do, it's just nice not to die in it immediately when you get hit once. And into the same venue goes armor. Armor just upgrades your health pool, and the more health you got, the more payoff you get from armor. Inherently, you want first HP and then the armor, but at the end of the day, I find both stats are wonderful dump stats if the upgrades are just not appealing again and you need to pick something because you don't want to do that nasty gold reroll. Overall, utility stats... oh, sorry, the last one is luck. Before I lose the track here. Luck is the third dump stat that I like to take. If I can get luck, I usually take it. Unless I am already in level 4 or 5. Then luck... I mean, the later the run goes, the less appealing luck grows, because of obvious reasons. But armor, HP, and luck are three stats I rarely feel like I can really get too much of because they just stack up so nicely. And number 10, last thing that I want to put into this video, the higher the income, the better the build. So, as much mine as much gold and nitra as you possibly can, because that is, apart from having just the luck of the drop, that's why I value luck so much, the best way to ensure that your build will hit like a truck, and that is by just having a stupendous amount of upgrades, and that happens with gold and nitra. Therefore, these income sources are really, really good. What's also worth mentioning is that there's a lot of gear items nowadays that give you bonuses for mined meta resources or killed loot books. These stack up for the entirety of the run, and I find them to be excellent sources of passive stat gain as well. So all in all, these things I found to be very, very valuable in powering up my build, just by having more raw stats by being able to buy more stats, basically. So, I hope this was helpful for you. These were the most generalistic things that I could say about builds in general. I just want to stress out here at the end of this video that builds are different. Each time you should think newly about what you want to do and how you want to do it, and that's where the fun's at. So feel free to add in your words of wisdom into this video's comment section, because as I like to say, there's nothing nicer than having even more info and tips for the entire community down there, so after watching this video you can even learn more. Thanks for watching. Drop me your likes, your subscribes, or if you'd be even eager to donate a little bit, Ko-fi and other links are way downstairs below. I'm now a full-time self-employed content creator, so all your help is really, really much appreciated and to some degree even needed. So feel free to do so. Take my deep appreciation, all of you who have done so already, but also take my thanks for still hanging out here on this video. Watching it until the very end is the best support that you can give, because, you know, at the end of the day, I could do nothing without you guys watching these videos. So thanks for your time and attention. See you on the next one, and have a good day.